Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namami buddham gunasagarantam Saddha sada hontu sukhi avera Khayo jinguncho sakalo dugandho Gachanti sabbe maranang ahanca Samanta cakkavalesu atra gachantu devata Saddhammang munirajassa sunanto sagga mokkadam Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa Nahang bhikkhave adikheneva Anyārādhanang vadāmi Apica bhikkhave anupubba sikkha Anupubba kiriya Anupubba patipada Anyārādhanā hoti. Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the perfectly enlightened one. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in the Dhamma, today we are going to discuss one of the topics in Buddhism, one of the discourses which comes in Majjhima Nikaya, Kitagiri Sutta. Kitagiri means it is a village where the Buddha preached this discourse, and that is the place. Kitagiri is a village. That is why this name comes. In this discourse, Kitagiri Sutta, Buddha especially explains the importance of having confidence or Saddha. This entire discourse describes the value of confidence or trust in the triple gem, the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. When we discuss Buddhist doctrines, Saddha is one of the primary qualities that we have. Saddha. Saddha means confidence. It is not a blind faith. It is a confidence which happens with understanding of the qualities of the Buddha. Especially, Saddha arises because of two reasons. They are listening to Dhamma and reflecting on Dhamma. If we want to increase the Saddha, we have to listen to Dhamma again and again. Not only listening to Dhamma, but we have to reflect on according to what we learned. That is the foundation of Saddha. When Buddha explained 5 spiritual faculties, I think you have heard about 5 spiritual faculties. Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. Saddha means confidence, Virya, energy, Sati, mindfulness, Samadhi, concentration, Panya, wisdom. Among them, one of them is Saddha, for confidence. Why do we need this kind of confidence in our spiritual practice? It is like having an address if we want to go to a new place, first of all we should know where we are going to, what is the destination. Without knowing destination or address, we can't reach the destination even though we have a higher energy or strength. That is very important. Confidence also like that. Saddha also like that. Buddha says in this discourse, especially, I don't say that the final liberation is achieved all at once. The liberation or enlightenment is not achieved all at once. It has a gradual path. Buddha says if we want to achieve enlightenment, we should have a gradual path, gradual training, gradual progress, gradual practice. It is like the ocean. Ocean gradually deepens from the beach. Our spiritual journey also like that. Little by little, we are going to the deeper level. Here it is very important. Saddha should be increased from the beginning to end on the path of liberation. When we go to the highest level, enlightenment, we don't need saddha. Why is that? For example, when you go to a new place, if somebody has told you the place, until you reach the destination, you have confidence in what your friend said. But after you reach the destination, you don't need confidence or faith in your friend. Why is that? Now it is your own experience. This is also like that. We need saddha until we reach the destination. But after we reach the enlightenment, we don't need saddha. Then Buddha says one of the qualities of arahanta is asaddho. Asaddho means he doesn't need more confidence. It's one of the differences in Buddhism. Other religions, we should trust in God until the destination, and after we reach the destination, we are near the God or we are near the spiritual teacher. But Buddhism is different. Sometimes when some people attained enlightenment in Buddha's time, after they attained liberation, they left Buddha. Even they didn't worship the Buddha. And this is the nature of saddha in Buddhism. Okay, saddha can be divided into three. Confidence in the Buddha, confidence in the Dhamma, confidence in the Sangha. What is the Buddha? What is the confidence in the Buddha? It doesn't say that we should respect Buddha, we should believe Buddha. Here the important thing is we should have a confidence in Buddha's enlightenment, his understanding. When we listen to Dhamma, Buddha says, come and see. Buddha never says, come and believe me. Come and see. How do we see it? Through our life, not through outside. After we listening to Dhamma, when we reflect on inside, we can realize it in our life. And the Buddha means we believe, we are confident in Buddha's enlightenment. The second one, Dhamma. What is the Dhamma? Dhamma means what Buddha taught, his message. Buddha realized, discovered and proclaimed the worldly truth. Because he realized himself this message, we respect Buddha. We say Buddha's message or Buddhism, but Buddha says very clearly, this message doesn't belong to even me. Why is that? Buddha says, whether a Buddha appears or not in the world, this truth is forever. But in this time, the only person, the Lord Buddha, who realized this message first time in this time. That is why we respect Buddha. When we attain enlightenment, there are two ways that we can achieve enlightenment. One of them is searching the destination, going here and there, we go to the destination. It is a very great searching experiment. Buddhas do some experiments for a long time. As a Buddha or as a Pacceka Buddha, they themselves realize this message. But as followers, as disciples, we are not like them. We don't need to go here and there. We can get the map or address first. Then we can go to the destination directly. That is the difference. Here, as followers, we are so fortunate. We have a great experiment result. If we have good attention, intelligence, then we can understand this message and we can practice this message through our life in this short life. The Sangha means, who is the Sangha? Sangha means not only Buddhist monks, but those who are practicing Dhamma, who are achieving the destination, who have attained the enlightenment. And these three things are very important. If we have one confidence in one thing, then other two things gradually increases. Sometimes some disciples first met Sangha or some noble disciples. Then they listened to Dhamma and they were confident in Dhamma and they found the Buddha. They went to Buddha. Sometimes first they ask Dhamma. They listen in Dhamma. Then they ask, who is this Dhamma? They found the teacher. They went to the Buddha. Sometimes first they saw Buddha and they were so pleasant in Buddha's behavior and they asked, what is your message? What do you practice? They listened to Dhamma and they saw the people who followed this message and they were confident in Sangha. Especially you have heard about Reverend Sariputta. Sariputta first met a disciple. One of the 5 disciples of the Buddha, Reverend Assaji. Sariputta is the chief disciple of Buddha, but he became a monk later. However, when he met Reverend Assaji, he asked, your behavior is so pleasant. What do you practice? Who is your teacher? Reverend Sariputta met a Sangha or disciple. He asked, what are the teachings that you practice? Your behavior is so pleasant. Let me know, please, your message. Then he listened to Dhamma. Sariputta realized the Dhamma and he went to meet Buddha. And these three things are interrelated. However, the important thing is, Buddha says, he who sees the Dhamma sees me. Your Dhammam passati, somam passati. He who sees the Dhamma sees me. The way to see the Buddha is seeing the Dhamma. How do we want to see the Dhamma? How we understand the Dhamma? First of all, we should pay our attention to listening or read the Dhamma. Then we can understand what the Buddha's message. What is the main center, main doctrine in Buddhism? What is the heart of Buddhism? Yes, suffering and the cessation of suffering. On the other side, we can say the understanding of the dependent origination. In one way, we can say suffering and cessation of suffering. With details, we can say Four Noble Truths. In short, we can say understanding the dependent origination. That is why Buddha says, Yo paticcasamuppadam passati, so dhammam passati. He who knows the dependent origination sees me, sees Dhamma. Yo dhammam passati, so paticcasamuppadam passati. He who sees the Dhamma sees the dependent origination. Dhamma and dependent origination are interrelated. Both of them are interrelated. Buddha says, he who sees the dependent origination sees the Dhamma. He who sees the Dhamma sees the dependent origination. Again Buddha says, he who sees the Dhamma sees me. He who sees me sees the Dhamma. Therefore, the foundation of all Buddhist doctrines is dependent origination. When someone understands the dependent origination, he understands the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths and the dependent origination are interrelated. The whole foundation of all these doctrines is understanding of impermanence. If we can realize the impermanence, that leads to understand all doctrines what Buddha taught. Our real success, our spiritual journey depends on understanding that impermanence. What is the impermanence? I is impermanent. Forms are impermanent. I consciousness is impermanent. Ear is impermanent. Sounds are impermanent. Ear consciousness is impermanent. Nose is impermanent. Smell is impermanent. Nose consciousness is impermanent. Tongue is impermanent. Our taste is impermanent. And tongue consciousness is impermanent. Body is impermanent. Touching is impermanent. Body consciousness is impermanent. Mind is impermanent. Mental formations are impermanent. Mind consciousness is impermanent. There are 18 sins. This is our entire life. What is the nature of these 18 sins? Impermanent. What is the impermanence? Ahutva sambhutam hutva na bhavisati. Not being occurred comes to occurrence. Being occurred will not go to occurrence. Whatever we experience at the moment, that is impermanent. It arises at the moment. The present experience didn't come to the present from the past. The present experience will not go to future from the present. The experience that we receive at the moment through our senses arises, and immediately when the reasons, conditions separate, the experience ceases. If we can have our full attention in this reality, at the moment we are away from suffering. At the moment we don't depend on any other person or thing. That is the place where we can achieve the real liberation. For that, the foundation is mindfulness and mindful meditation. Here, little by little, it is important to understand the triple gem. triple gem means the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. What is the meaning of gem? Gem is very valuable. Material gems are very valuable. They bring us happiness, but sometimes they bring us suffering, lamentation, because when they are with us, we are happy. When they go away from us, we are unhappy. But these three things are not material gems. The triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, they are spiritual gems. Nobody can disturb these gems. Nobody can steal these gems, because they are spiritual gems. And here, especially in this discourse, Buddha says the importance of practicing Saddha from beginning to end. However, it is very important to understand the triple gem. First, the Buddha. Buddha means not only Buddha's physical body, but Buddha's enlightenment. Buddha was born as an ordinary person in India before 2500 years ago. When he was born, he was an ordinary person. But when he attained enlightenment at the age of 35, he became an extraordinary person. Why is that? He eradicated all defilements in his mind: greed, anger and delusion. Even though he lived with ordinary people physically, mentally he has overcome them. Like a flower which comes from mud. The root of flood is in mud, but flower is in front of mud, or the mud. Buddha was also like that. Even though he was born in ordinary people, even though he lived with ordinary people physically, mentally he had overcome all of them. He overcome material things. His mind was not dependent on physical things. And also Buddha pointed out the way how we also keep our refuge, make our refuge. How we make a refuge. People usually find refuge in outside, among people and things. But that liberation, that freedom is not successful. Anytime that freedom, liberation can be changed. But the spiritual success, spiritual liberation cannot be destroyed by anyone. Here, it is important to understand Buddha's noble qualities. In a stanza, we say Buddha's noble qualities. Itipiso Bhagava. Such indeed is the exalted one, Araham, worthy, Samma Sambuddho, supremely enlightened, Vijayacharana Sampanno, nor of the world, Sugato, well gone, Lokavidu, nor of the world, Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarati, incomparable trainer of persons to be tamed, Sattha Deva Manusanam, the teacher of gods and men, Buddha, enlightened, Bhagava, exalted. Buddha's all qualities are included in this word, in this sentence. And these qualities belong to his spirituality. Sometimes some disciples like Vakkali looked at Buddha, was looking at Buddha for a long time. But Buddha said, Vakkali, it is not important to look at me. If you want to understand me, please realize this Dhamma. seeing the Buddha, the way to seeing the Buddha is seeing the Dhamma. Vakali was so happy seeing Buddha. But Buddha encouraged him to see the Dhamma. The way to see the Buddha is to see the Dhamma. And here, when we see actually Buddha's physical body, our mind is so present because his all activities are correct, because he has trained his mind and behavior for a long time. However, Buddha always encourages us to listen to his message and realize the Buddha through the Dhamma. The second one is Dhamma. What is Dhamma that we say? Dhamma means Buddha's message. In short, Buddha explains his message in a stanza, in short. Sabba papa sakaranam, not to do evil. Kusala supasambada, doing good. Sachitta paryodapanam, purifying one's mind. This is the message of all Buddhas. First, Buddha explained how we not to fall hell. Buddha realized the highest challenge that we have in our life. Going to the hell is the worst challenge in our life. That is why Buddha says, please don't do bad deeds with polluted mind, which causes to fall down the hell. That is why, that is the first advice of the Buddha. Then Buddha pointed out the way how to become a blissful life, heavenly path. That is why Buddha said in second, kusala upasambada, doing good. With the understanding of the karmic law, practice good deeds, physically, verbally and mentally. With pure mind, if we can do something physically, verbally or mentally, we can generate positive thoughts in our mind throughout three meritorious deeds: Dana, Sila and Bhavana. Dana means generosity, offering something to others as much as we can. If we are generous, actually that is one of the ways that we can purify our mind from greed. The second one is morality or virtue, discipline in our speech and behavior. That is also one of the ways that we can acquire our positive thoughts. The third one is meditation. Among three meritorious deeds, the highest wholesome act is practicing meditation. Here we directly purify our mind using some techniques. There are 4 techniques that Buddhism says to meditate, such as loving kindness meditation, the meditation of contemplating on Buddha's qualities. Those are the techniques that we can practice in our day-to-day life. When we practice meditation, we directly purify our mind from greed, anger and delusion. It is the direct way that we can purify our mind. The second level, as Dhamma, as a refuge. How we make a refuge? The Dhamma. Listening to Dhamma and practice Dhamma. Then we have a security. We have a refuge. It is not just a physical refuge, material refuge. It is a mental refuge. Sometimes we may get sick. We can be sick. Sometimes we can die. But we have a safety mentally. Even though we die, even though there are some problems to our physical body, mentally we are healthy, mentally we have a protection. After we leave this physical body, we have a better one. with more facilities. Even though we have some problems physically, if we are healthy mentally, actually we don't feel our physical illnesses because our mental condition is very high. Even though we are very healthy physically, if we are unhealthy mentally with some negative thoughts, with anger, greed, delusion, actually we have no real health. That is why Buddhism emphasizes the importance of mental health than physical health. For mental health, we have to overcome negative thoughts. We have to recognize real enemies who disturb our inner peace. The qualities of Dhamma, knowing the qualities of Dhamma is very important. The sentence of Sakkhato Bhagavata Dhammo, Buddha says the qualities of the Dhamma. Sakkhato Bhagavata Dhammo. The Dhamma is well expounded by the Buddha. Sanditiko. Visible result. Akaliko. Immediately effective. Ehipassiko. Calling one to come and see. Opanayiko. Leading onwards. Pacchatthang Veditabo, to be personally realized by the wise. If we want to see the results, we have to practice it through our life. We can see the result from outside. Sometimes some people are going outside finding spiritual persons. But it is not successful. The thing is, if we don't know the qualities of the Dhamma, even though we meet some spiritual persons, we can recognize them. That is why, first of all, we should have a real understanding what Buddha taught, and then we can practice it in our life. However, Buddha says, in the past and the present, I explain only two things. What they are: suffering and the cessation of suffering. What is the suffering? What is the noble truth of suffering? Last week we discussed. There is a difference between suffering and the noble truth of suffering. Suffering means birth is suffering, sickness is suffering, death is suffering, decay is suffering. These are the sufferings. Anybody can understand these sufferings. Death is suffering, aging is suffering, decay is suffering, sickness is suffering. It is very easy to understand, but it is not the noble truth of suffering. What is the noble truth of suffering? The noble truth of suffering is, when we experience something, we think there is something outside. When we look at something, I think table is here. When I look at you, I think there is a person here. If my mind is fixed in outside persons and things, that is the noble truth of suffering. If I meet a person outside, then I am not away from suffering. Now I can be neutral. But any time when you change, when you blame me, I may get angry. I will be suffering. Because I find a person outside. But outside there are no persons or things. In outside there are only four fundamental elements: earth element, water elements, fire elements, wind elements, and space. Sometimes mind. These are the things outside. But we create persons. This is my son, this is my brother, this is my dad. We name persons. But it is not true. It depends on my intellectual thoughts. my mental formations. We always get some examples for that. And if we meet some persons and things outside when we experience something through our senses, that means the noble truth of suffering. If we want to cease from suffering, as soon as we meet some persons and things outside, we should reflect on inside. Then suddenly we should be in mindfulness. If we are not in mindfulness, even though we have knowledge, we are away from this understanding, then we are suffering. Knowledge is important, and mindfulness is more important. Reflecting on impermanence is most important. Knowledge is important, mindfulness is more important. Reflecting on impermanence or mindful meditation is the most important thing. These three things are interrelated: knowledge, mindfulness, and mindful meditation. Whenever we are practicing mindful meditation, at the moment, nobody can bring us suffering or even happiness. Happiness or suffering create inside. We create suffering and happiness inside. Nobody can bring us suffering or happiness. If we are ignorant, if we are not mindful, then persons can bring us suffering or happiness, because we depend on outside. In this level, actually, unfortunately, we are dependent on outside. Anybody can disturb us anytime. We are controlled in outside. All Buddhist doctrines point out the way how we make a refuge, how we make a liberation, freedom inside. Our real success depends on our happiness. Our happiness depends on getting rid of suffering. Getting rid of suffering depends on reflecting on impermanence, depending on insight, depending on wisdom. What is the wisdom? Reflecting on impermanence. This is the place where we can see the visible result, immediately effective of Dhamma. Even though we practice generosity, sometimes it is very difficult to find visible results. We have to spend many time to see the result, sometimes next life. But the special thing that if we practice samatha and vipassana meditation, concentration and insight meditation, actually that is the place where we can see the immediate result, visible results, immediately effectiveness. When we look at something, sometimes our close friends dies in front of us. At the moment, we don't suffer. But in this level, we are suffering when our close relatives die in front of us. The highest advantage that we receive throughout practicing Dhamma is when negative objects come to our senses. If we can depend on wisdom, that is the place where we can see visible results. The Dhamma, that is the qualities of the Dhamma. Sangha means the Buddha's noble disciples. When we see Buddha's noble disciples, courage, dedication and their qualities, our energy increases. there were a lot of people who gave up their properties, relatives, friends, and they came to the dispensation of the Buddha, and they were ordained, they practiced Dhamma, they got results, they attained enlightenment, and the special thing, they protected this message, they brought this message from generation to generation more than 2500 years. In one side, our confidence of their qualities increases. On the other side, our gratitude to them also increases, because we receive this valuable, sublime message because of their dedication. We are grateful to them. When we listen to and when we understand Dhamma, we pay our gratitude to them. We are so grateful. And with that gratitude, we are hurried to practice this message, and we try to give this message to new generation. That is one of our duties. It is not that thing that we convert other people to Buddhism. We explain the way how we overcome suffering. It doesn't need to person to be a Buddhist. It is enough that understand this message, practice this message. That is why in Buddha's time there were some disciples of other religious teachers. They wanted to become disciples of the Buddha. Buddha stopped them. Don't come here. Please take care of your religious teachers. Please help them. Please respect them. If you don't respect your previous teachers and masters, don't come here. And after they promised to respect their previous teachers and take care of their previous teachers, then Buddha helped them. And if someone neglects other religious teachers or other religions, actually Buddha never encouraged it. But Buddha clearly explained the difference in his message. That is his duty. Buddha said, these religions cause us to go forward, go to next birth or in the samsaric circle. This is the path to go away from the samsaric circle. Buddha explained very clearly the difference between his message and other religions. But Buddha associated other religious teachers harmoniously. Buddha respected others. And sometimes Buddha went to other religious places and discussed with them as a friend, not as a teacher. And that is why Buddhism is spread all over the world as a harmonious religion. And however, here in the Kitagiri Sutta, there are several steps that we can go forward with confidence or Saddha. Saddha Jatupa here is first Buddha says, the final liberation is achieved by gradual training, gradual progress and gradual practice. What is that? One who is confident in a teacher visits him. First, we don't have deeper understanding. Sometimes when we see a person who practices Dhamma, our mind is pleasant to him. We appreciate them. Then we reach them with the confidence. And not only going to them, but when he visits, he attends constantly the teacher. He associates him again and again. Then, with attending constantly the teacher, he lends ears What is your message? He pays attention. What is your message? Let me know, please, what you practice. He lends ears. Then he listening to Dhamma. He wants to listening to what he practices. Then, having listening to Dhamma, he remembers is what he learned. Sometimes, there are some people who listen to Dhamma very well at the hall, but when they leave there, they have nothing. Everything they forget. But it is very important to learn by heart. It is very important to remember what we learned, what we studied, what we listened. That is why Buddhism says again and again, remind it what you learned. Then Buddha says that person not only remember that he reflects on its meaning. Here we explain this is suffering, this is the cessation of suffering. But your duty is to reflect on it again and again. What is the nature of this suffering? Here we describe the difference between suffering and the noble truth of suffering. Then, after you leave the class, you can think it again and again. What Bande said. Suffering is very easy to understand. Anybody can realize it. But the noble truth of suffering is not like that. It is difficult to understand. If you find some people or things outside, that is the noble truth of suffering. Before we make a person outside, we reflect on inside. We create persons or things outside according to our mental conditions, not the real things outside. That is why when your mom sees you, mom may say that this is my son. But a tiger sees you, it thinks that this is my diet. And that is the difference. The next one is, while reflecting on the meaning, he gains a reflective acceptance of those teachings. Attang upaparikhanto dhammanijjhana kamanti. Dhammanijjhana kamantya sati chando jayati. With reflective acceptance of, he makes an effort. When he realizes Dhamma, his energy, courage increases. He is hurried to see this message. He is hurried to see the result. Because this is only path to overcome suffering. Even though we are very rich, even though we are well educated, even though we have a lot of friends and relatives, actually, those things are not forced to overcome suffering. The only thing that forced to overcome suffering is practicing Dhamma. Even though we have a physical body, one day we can't control even our physical body. Even our physical body doesn't take care of us. In that situation, the only refuge that we have is making an unshaken mind. That's why Buddha says, Atta deepa bhikkhave viharata sarana no anya sarana. Dwell with yourself as an island, as a light, as a refuge, with no other refuge. Dhamma deepa bhikkhave viharata dhamma sarana no anya sarana. Dwell with the Dhamma as an island, as a refuge, with no other refuge. Here, our courage, our effort increases. Having made the effort, he weights it up. He goes forward with this courage. Next, having weighted it up, he attempts to go on the path. He tried to go forward on this path little by little. Buddha said, as an intelligent person, the highest thing that we can practice is concentration and insight meditation. Actually, we were born in this world, and also we receive these facilities to spend our time to practice concentration and wisdom meditation. Actually, this is not only effort in our life, we have received these facilities and intelligence as the result of a lot of dedications that we did in our previous lives too. That is why we give the priority to develop our mind in concentration and insight meditation. That is our real dedication. Day by day, Buddha said, we should give the priority to train our mind, and we should increase the duration of practicing concentration and insight meditation. That is the real safety. That is the real security. That is the real property. That is the real dowry. That is the real wealth in our life. The duration of concentration and insight meditation. Everything is going to destroy. That is why day by day we should go forward contemplating on our mind, contemplating our mind on some meditation techniques. Not only sitting meditation, but when we walk, when we drive, when we do something, if we do those things mindfully, actually at the moment we are not away from meditation. When we look at someone, if you can contemplate on that, this incident I see at the moment, there is the place that you practice meditation. When you drive on the street, on a freeway, if you can practice, may all beings who are around me be well and happy. You are going on the way fast, practicing loving kindness meditation. And also contemplating on your generosity, also some of the meditation techniques, Chaganupassana. If you have practiced some dana or generosity, you can remember it, you can memorize it, you can contemplate on it. I have offered these things to Bhantes, and I have offered these things to temples. Think in those things. If you drive, at the moment you are practicing a meditation, Chaganupassana. It is also one of the meditation techniques. If you have took care of your parents, you can remember it, you can remind it. When you think it, actually you are a person who meditates. And also, if you breathe mindfully, it means you are not away from meditation. Meditation or practicing Dhamma is like breathing. If we have time to breathe, it means we have time to meditate. But it is not just breathing, but we have to add mindfulness to our breathing. Then we are meditating while we are breathing. If we have time to breathe, it means we have enough time to meditate. But the link is mindfulness. If we have no link, mindfulness, we have lost meditation. However, we are talking about the qualities of the Sangha. Sangha, not only they practice Dhamma, not only they achieve enlightenment, but actually they dedicated their life to protect this message, and they have been bringing this message from generation to generation for more than 2,500 years. That is why we have received this sublime truth in this time. However, if we think these qualities, gradually our confidence in the triple gem increases, And then Buddha says, being self-resolute, he realizes with his person the highest truth itself. When we go forward little by little through Saddha, through courage, energy, then we realize the highest truth. Finally, he understands, he sees the supreme truth as it is. Finally, what is the thing we have to realize? Buddha says, I explain only one advice to everyone, those who are in the lower side as Kitagiri, as common people, as training people, as sacred persons, as enlightened. I proclaim only one advice, that reflecting on impermanence of our mind and body. Even though a lot of doctrines in Buddhism, actually finally we have to do only thing that reflecting on impermanence. When a thought comes to my mind, if we can understand this present thought arises at the moment, then we are away from suffering. Actually at that moment we don't feel even our physical pains. Sometimes we have a serious illness in our body. But if we are in this understanding, at the moment we are healthy mentally, even though physically we are unhealthy. This is the place where we can show our skillfulness. This is the place where we can see that we are away from suffering. This is the place where we have overcome illness, decay, death, and rebirth, and all sufferings. The highest quality, the highest contemplation that we can practice in our life is reflecting on impermanence, which happens to my body and mind. In our spiritual world, actually we have no ready-made things. We make everything at the moment according to our present mental condition. When my present mental condition is pleasant, I see you are a friend. When my present mental condition is unpleasant, you are an enemy. When my mind is in wisdom, actually when I see something, only seeing that. I don't find even a person outside. This is the highest training that we can practice in our life, getting rid of suffering. And for that, Buddha says the importance of having confidence for Saddha. Saddha increases according to what we listen to, what we practice. If we can listen to this sublime truth, concept with the dependent origination and the Four Noble Truth, then we can understand what happens to my entire life. As much as we listen to Buddha's message, we should have an ability to recognize who I am, what happens to my mind and body. But other people look at outside. But we who wish to attain inner peace have to look at inside. Then, as the result of practicing these valuable doctrines, our all wishes also succeed. Our educational, professional, and other social wishes also succeed as the result of this valuable message, as the result of this valuable trainings, practices in our life. Actually, we can see the results in this life itself, not hereafter. Have you any question? Yeah. Okay, here we discussed the importance of having confidence or Saddha in Triple J. If you want to increase the confidence or Saddha, we have to listen to this message again and again, which consists with the Four Noble Truths or dependent origination or impermanence. The highest knowledge that we should gain is impermanence. Whatever we experience in our life is impermanent. That not being occurred comes to occurrence. Being occurred will not go to occurrence. It is the highest truth in supramundane level, but we have to live in ordinary society. When we associate ordinary people, we deal with them in the conventional truth. Physically we are in conventional truth, mentally we are in ultimate truth with supramundane level. That is the difference. We should be intelligent in these places. When we associate ordinary people, sometimes we can apply these doctrines physically, materially, but mentally we are different. For example, when a mom plays with a child, when someone sees it, he may say that mom is playing with the child. But physically, materially, mother is playing with the child, but mentally she is different. We are also like that. You can go to a wedding, you can go to a party, you can associate with your other relatives and friends as usual, but mentally always you contemplate on loving kindness meditation, you reflect on impermanence, then mentally practicing higher qualities, physically and materially, you are living with ordinary people. You are intelligent to deal with them as usual because of this understanding. And also as the result of practicing this Dhamma, you are able to control some people, because you are always, your mind is pure and calm. Then other people also feel your feelings. Then automatically sometimes you can control them in some levels. And sometimes we can control them because sometimes they are very strong with some negative thoughts. However, we make a refuge in this way, in our side. If we can control outside, we make a refuge here. We can close all over the world, but we can close our feet. Then, when we wear shoes, we are going everywhere like a place where the earth covered. This is the way that Buddhism points out to get rid of suffering and achieve the real liberation. Okay, day by day, if we want to go forward, it is very important to have confidence in what Buddha taught. Especially, we should have a special understanding the difference between suffering and the noble truth of suffering. The cause of suffering and the noble truth of the cause of suffering. Cessation of suffering and the noble truth of the cessation of suffering. And path and the noble truth of the path that leads to getting rid of suffering. Ordinary people think that path, they always change outside. They always clean outside for their liberation. But here, how do we do? What do we do? We clearance our ignorance. We clean our ignorance. What is the ignorance? After experience, we don't keep something inside as dust. Ordinary people keep something after experience. But we who are listening to this message, we don't keep anything as permanent. It doesn't mean that we should forget everything. We never forget. We can remember anything, anytime, but we are mindful that as soon as we remember something we know very well, now I am reading my mind, not the real thing. You can remember someone who has blamed you, but your mind is not fixed in that incident. You know very well, now I am reading my mind. You can remember your beloved husband. You know very well, now I am reading my mind, not the real situation. Because everything which happened in the past has ceased. Now you have only your memory. Now sometimes he was born in a very blissful life, but still you are in the past. That past experience actually already ceased. When you remember that incident, you read your own mind. You should be mindful when you remember your husband. That is the training that we should do here. That is the benefit that you receive this class. If you are still in the past experience, actually, you are in suffering. You should develop your mindfulness. As soon as you remember something, you should be mindful that now I am reading my mind. Then, laughing, you can remember your husband, not crying. Now you remember your husband crying. When you remember your husband, you cry. Why is that? You are still in the past experience without mindfulness. Here, we trained our mind to live in the present moment. That is the thing that contemplate on consciousness, Chittanupassana. Kayanupassana, contemplating on body, contemplating on consciousness, Chittanupassana, contemplating on feelings, Vedanupassana, contemplating on mental formations, Dhammanupassana. These are the four things that we apply mindfulness in 4 areas. We have to practice mindfulness in 4 areas. Body, mind, feelings and mental formations. Then we are aware of that what happens to my body and mind at the moment. We can remember anything which happened in the past. We can imagine anything which will be happening in the future. It doesn't matter, but we know very well I do everything mentally, not the real world. Then we are healthy mentally. That is the way how we make a refuge. That is the way Buddha says, dwell with yourself as an island, as a refuge, as a light with no other refuge. Dwell with the Dhamma as an island, as a refuge, as a light with no other refuge. This is the way how we make a real refuge. Day by day, we should try to go forward on this path with this understanding, and we have to dedicate everything to realize this message in this life before we die. We were born to realize this message in this life, not for other things. All other things are primary things. This should be our main thing. We should give the priority to realize this message in this life. It means we are getting the result of our life. Then our life is so valuable. The value of our life depends on not what we earned, but what we generated in our mind as wisdom. For that, let's go forward day by day. For that, I wish you all the best. I really thank your participation and good attention in here. Today we discussed the Kitagiri Sutta, which comes in Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length of discourses. And here especially Buddha explains the importance of having Saddha, confidence in what Buddha taught. And when we go forward, little by little our Saddha increases. Finally, we overcome Saddha, confidence. Then we have real experience in our life. Because we can realize this message through our life. Then we don't need more confidence in what Buddha told, because it is our own experience. Okay, thank you so much again for your good attention and participation and dedication. By the power of all these meritorious and spiritual activities that we are doing here, may our departed relatives also receive this spiritual energy. May they enhance their lives and may they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to our beloved departed relatives. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. By the power of all these meritorious activities and practicing Dhamma, may guardian deities and angels also receive these merits. May they rejoice with these activities and may they also enhance their spiritual energy. May they keep their eye on you too. May they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to guardian deities and angels to recite in the Gatha. Ākāsattā ca bhummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu sāsanam. Ākāsattā ca bhummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu desanam. Ākāsattā ca bhummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu tvaṃ sadā. By the power of all these activities, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantā ca nirdukkha, bhayam pantā ca nirbhayam, sokam pantā ca nissokam, hontu samde pipānino. Dukin pelena sat, dukin midetvā, bien pelena sat, biya nati vetvā. Sovinta vena sat, somnas vetvā. Nitin me hama sat, suvat vetvā. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.